Hey, how you going? This is a video for Bitcoin, which will be used today looking at the technical analysis for 3-month, monthly, weekly, and daily chart for the next bullish move based on an imbalance pivot which has occurred, and also a potential market cycle bearish continuation move to capitulate all participants before the next part of the cycle occurs. And to do that, we'll look at regression trends using the BLX chart, which is like a moving average indicator, whereby it is at a lag of 1 week. And I'll jump into that in a little bit. So looking at a quarterly chart first using Coinbase, you can see that price has deviated to a low here at 15,000 roughly $170, and that is a strong reversion level, which on the quarterly chart has provided and indicated a bullish correction. Now, this infinity trend line at present, looking on the quarterly chart, can show a price looking towards 26k highs, completing the pattern roughly around this July 22 candle, where price can look for a pathway to complete the section here, break and retest before falling nicely back into the pathway, falling against the trend for releasing the next part of the cycle in 2024. That's definitely a possibility. However, the monthly shows something slightly different. So if we jump down to the monthly time frame, we can see that price has created a nice break of curve, which has occurred here, and the engulfing structure has now reverted against the run of play, causing this to be a demand imbalance which is formed, and the departure height is well within the criteria of looking at 3 times the bearish candle, making the move suggesting the outbreak has occurred. So with this break and retest scenario occurring, price is now sandwiched between 2 trend lines. One, the infinity trend line, which is continuing the bearish pattern, and looking to that, price can either, in a bearish scenario, look to capitulate further. And what I mean by that is, if we draw a curve where price can potentially take us, is that price can reject this level here and take us back well and truly towards 15k again, because market structure to the left still has not yet indicated a completion pattern of price action occurring here. So price can even fall back like so eventually into late 2023. I have no idea when. We'll just have to wait until these levels touch. And also, this is an original level, so keep that in mind. And that's very important as part of structure settles and arrives into the imbalance before reloading the next cycle, which takes us up to either 1 40k and 2 60k mark again. So again, very important levels. And if you're buying in terms of a DCA, dollar cost average input on your monthly or whatever investment time frame you look to invest, your average price here in a bearish scenario will be getting stronger, and look to this level to add a bit of extra funds if you have that available to you in cash. That would be a great suggestion. Obviously, wait, it confirms upon this level first if price reaches here. If not, this is a very strong level at present where we'll wait the next move. If we jump down to weekly, we can see this a little bit more clearer. So if I read this, so this potentially at the moment is the weekly trend line, which has now been broken and retested, and in the format of retest. So where price can take us here is that price can either reject as a bull trap, break back under, continue back to the original level here. The price has emerged from in the monthly, falling back to this trend line here around 15k, right? So that is a definitely strong probability based on where price can take us. However, From a bullish technical perspective, notice how market structure is now forming here. This potentially can be a potential zone of interest where price can take us. Let me draw another pathway instead. Price can take us to test this zone, fall back, create an imbalance here, head up to this CP level, which is a continuation pattern, whereby price is now aligning nicely to this part and will hit price action, revert back again, using this as a PCP imbalance, or a CP imbalance now. As a fresh touch, walking all the way up to this fresh level at around 40k, roughly 41, 42, where price can reject back to here or back further, or keep continuing and the bull cycle will start again as it eliminates the entirety of the market structure. So that is a very strong potential pattern. And as this continuation pattern forms, let's say a couple of bullish patterns here, this will now form a very strong PCP, whereby price can deviate to the next zone of 40k, 30k, sorry. Use this part of structure again, reject from a slight pivot level, pull us back towards, and as this happens, the trend line will be respected on the weekly and also the monthly, and price will walk its way up against structure, eliminating these zones here. So eliminate it. It will eliminate it. Hurdle psychological levels, at 40k, or hurdle 50k psychological level. It will jump into the monthly fresh and pull back and may reject again from bearish, or will just continue higher like suggested. So keep those areas in mind. Now, price can form here a PCP or a rally-based drop, which is essentially where this rejects as a fresh pivot, taking us back to where I said here, and form this against the trend line on the monthly and still reject, heading back towards this. The structure suggests on this high curve that price action is poor and structure has not completed yet in this fresh arrival zone. So that is also a scenario to be strongly aware of acutely. Right, so jumping down to daily, if I remove these quickly, we can eliminate that as a long-term move. So I've currently marked two strong zones. So this is a PCP on a daily, whereby price can look to tail off here, break, fall back to here as a testing level. Yep, it's around the trend line as you can see on the daily, and it can reject and head up towards here. If that is not a high probable factor, structure left here is quite weak. So price can revert and use this as a PCP rejection and head back down, as I said previously in the weekly chart. So price can move back towards 15k, the lows which we put in. Now if we flip over to the regression on the weekly, so the regression works very strongly and have been tracking for majority of last year. So at the moment, price is in the upper band of the lower bands of the regression trend, where price is now broken out of the weekly, and as I said previously, has potential to move up towards this PCP pivot as a fresh supply, where price can again eliminate this area of the market and either use this as a new demand and head up towards the upper band, while the mid price of Bitcoin is now moving forward with the regression and heading towards higher highs in terms of the mid-weight. So if that happens upon a bullish move over time, and regression moves along with this in symmetry. In a perfect scenario, price can take us here, and it can stay above, essentially, quote unquote, what would be a 200-day moving average in some traders' eyes. So, essentially, think it like that from a technical perspective. So that is that. Just want to check the time here and see how I'm going. Also, looking here, that price cycle is not yet finished. In my eyes, I'd like to say it's bullish. However, this part of the structure has created a lower high, which is great, but still looking to see if this falls back towards this lower low band here, where price can take us for one final strong capitulation, remove a lot of participants from the market, and really have a nice change of hands for a demand imbalance, which will take us to the next part of the cycle. So that is that. But hope it helps, and I'll upload a couple of technical screenshots to Tradingview, and we'll go from there. Anyway, take it easy. Hooroo.